Last night I was sleeping on the couch right next to a window, and dude, I woke up about 5 o'clock this morning and thunder's just rolling. It's pouring down rain. The creek's running hot. I was actually gonna start pulling some trees out from in the creek bed that fell in there with the John Deere. It's a little bit too wet. You can kind of see I got tracks I've been leaving here just from driving before I even start trying to pull anything. So I think what I'm gonna do instead is just start splitting some wood. I love fires. One of my big goals for this winter time is I would love to just have a stockpile of wood. And last winter, I ended up having to go out to Home Depot and a local hardware store a few times just to get some wood. I didn't have enough. I was laid up. I couldn't really do much to split it anyway, but I don't really want that to happen again. I'm trying to be a little bit proactive. Sorry about that chainsaw, dude. That guy's literally been chainsawing for the last 15 minutes straight, hasn't shut off once. That's the first time it's revved down. He's back. I gotta fix the Xterra. So let's take a look. Got a 4-flat down here. I just bought that new trailer and it's not putting out any right turn signal. I used to do this stuff all the time at the dealership and I know how to fix this stuff pretty easily. My car, unfortunately, has like 3 or 4 relays in line. One of them's probably shot, and rather than fix that, I'm just gonna pull my right turn signal, find the line, just kind of bypass the whole thing because we're gonna need the trailer to go out to Home Depot and buy some drywall and lumber and stuff like that. So I gotta get this thing roadworthy. That's the whole reason I bought the trailer. I was gonna buy a truck a couple weeks ago, end up falling through, so until I get another truck, this is where I'm at. So I just wanna make sure all my stuff's working. So I'm gonna tear this apart and see what we get. One other thing I bought a whole new 4-flat, nice little finger slot to be able to pull it apart. It's always a weak point on these. You end up pushing behind there on the old ones and you kind of crimp the wire. So this will be nice. So I'm gonna actually replace the whole thing, but first I gotta start with grabbing the wire off of here and fishing it down. Basically, this is gonna create like a 3-way connection here. Well, I guess just a 2-way, but we're basically making a T here. So this is gonna be my hot, I'm pretty sure. We're gonna find out in just a second. Slide that over the wire, push this up, and then all you need, some sort of pair of crimpers here. And I always like to get this kind of taut in my hand so I can push up on this wire just to make sure it's going. Now, there we go. If that did it right, you should be able to test this wire, which is the other end of that wire, and this should be pulsing 12.5 or 13 volts every time the blinker turns on. So you can kind of, you can see that I got the right one. See how it's flashing between 11.6 and 0, which is basically just the blinker turning on and off. So that's good. Now all I have to do is fish this down. I gotta waterproof my connection over there, and I gotta fish this down, and then really just cut off that old 4 flat and splice the new ones in. Kind of just run it over to the area it's gonna be in, somewhere over in this vicinity, and then I just pull out like another, 1.5 feet or so. Just make sure you don't want to be too short. I'd rather be a little bit too long and cut it off. She got our little friend up there. Well, that's annoying. I had the camera going, it must have shut off halfway through. I just pulled up the trailer. I'm gonna fix that next. Emily's watching Pure Flicks. Videoing. What's it look like? I cut all these earlier, well, a few days ago, because when the lights weren't working, I wasn't sure if it was the Xterra. It seemed like I was getting good signal out of the 4-way. But upon further investigation, I was not. I back the Xterra up and check these lights. If this side flashes, it means it works. All right, it's a couple days later since last time you saw me. I think the last thing I was doing was wiring up the Xterra. But here's the problem. On most vehicles, your turn signal and the brakes are the same bulb. They don't have to be. That's what's called amber turn signals or amber lights. And you've got to get a converter. It basically takes 2 signals and outputs 1, otherwise you don't know. So when I spliced that wire from my right turn signal down to the 4-way, I only grabbed my turn signal because the Xterra has amber lights. So I went and bought this thing right here. It's just a 3-to-2 taillight converter, basically exactly for this. And the good news is it wasn't a wasted effort, because all I need to do is grab 1 brake light and 1 turn signal light and then output it. So I already have the turn signal grabbed from this side. I'm just gonna go into the left side over here, left side, and I will grab the turn signal and the brake from there, because you only have to put 1 brake light in. It works for both sides. So. This is what we're dealing with here. Green wire, give me my turn signal. I'm gonna have to try to wedge something onto the brake pedal to light up my brakes, get a signal so I can figure out which wire is the actual power wire. Figured out which one's the brake, because when I broke it, it stayed on. A little bit more light on there. All right, this is gonna be really hard to show on camera. My wires are up here. I have 3 insulated butt connectors left. And if I'm doing the math right, which I believe I am, I only need 3. So if I don't mess any of them up, see what we get. You always want to be cutting away from yourself. Okay, so the right turn signal is hooked up. Just bought a set of picks, might as well put them to use. My expectations, do I think it'll work? Probably, but if it doesn't, there's only one thing it could be, and that's a bad ground, which I can fix pretty easily. So, I know it's not the prettiest shot, but we're looking at this light and this light. If you see lights and flashes come on, we're good. All right, so living out here, I don't know if it's considered the country, but it's definitely not the city. Every time the weather starts to change, we get mice, rodents, everything's trying to find ways to get inside. My house is not that well sealed. So couple of things I've got to do this year. You remember on the last video, I put up those boards next to the stove to stop rodents. Well, Emily found, actually she came face to face with a mouse in the kitchen the one day. She came in and normally she like implodes, but she handled it really well. So props to you, Em. But I told her I would try to do something to fix it. So I've got a small list of things I'm gonna do, but right now I bought some steel wool and I'm gonna shove it down in the big cracks in the stovetop because that's where it came through. Has a little hood in here and everything. Those of you who don't know, mice can fit through pretty small cracks. We went out and bought some poison and stuff, but this is what I'm really gonna do. I got 2 different kinds. I don't know which will be better. This is coarse, this is medium coarse. I feel like this would probably be harder to get through. If you don't have calluses on your hands, if you're ever playing with this stuff, just be careful because it can kind of cut you open a little bit. I'm gonna test this pretty rigorously because I'm not really trying to have a house fire.